Oh look, I'm still alive. I'm not usually allowed to explain myself, you know. Usually, actually, I'm not allowed to explain myself because I'm not allowed to do your thinking for you. The whole point of these videos is that you don't have to. No one has to do fucking anything, but the whole idea is that people learn to think for themselves, look deeper than the surface, to stop seeing the world through a priori knowledge. You know, now what a priori knowledge is knowledge that you've gained not through experience, even though you could look at a video of Lane Norton and uh, 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 espousing his, I see him on this morning saying, oh, you know, about his studies and his studies and his studies and how I'm an authority and about the studies. But basically, that is not a priori knowledge. This is knowledge, even though he is an experience. This knowledge that you're learning from him is not a priori, is a priori knowledge. It's knowledge that you are gaining not through experience, but even though he's an experience, but it's not even his experience. It's through studies. It's not through experience. You know what I mean? It's a priori knowledge, but it's not knowledge that's gained through experience, which more or less means that they write your narrative for you. Basically, they have no experience of it. You have no experience of it. So basically, everybody's talking through the fucking arse, and everybody's experiencing the world through a priori knowledge. So basically, even though the sense perceptions are not to be trusted, they're way off when you're perceiving the world through a priori knowledge. You're seeing it not even as you think it is, but how you think it is influenced by somebody else. How somebody else thinks it is. So basically now it's like the snowball effect. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they have a priori knowledge, they have no experience of it, you have no experience of it, but the whole thing gets progressively worse. So by the time as I say, if you're building a house and the corners of the foundation is off, by the time you get to the roof, the whole thing's a complete shit show, and your reality is the same. Do you understand what I'm saying? So basically, like I'm not supposed to be, like I'm not on here to indoctrinate anybody or tell anybody how to live. I talk about my own fucking life and my own observations and this, that, the other. And usually I'm fucking, I don't know, whatever you like. Perceive it whatever way you want. Basically, is or whatever your through your own a priori knowledge. So basically, whatever you think of me, ask yourself what's influencing that. But so yeah, so I said I'll explain myself because I've been sitting up the mountain the last few days, thinking about things, because this is one of the ambiguities of me being alone up in the hostel for the last week at least. Yeah, and one of the ambiguities of this is I get time to think. Like, everybody needs some time alone. This Axl Rose again. Oh, everybody needs some time alone. That's from November Rain. But a lot of people are afraid to be on their own. They're afraid of solitude. But I believe me, you get used to it. I remember one time, that I used to spend long periods in solitude, and then you'd be in somebody's company for a while. Attachment. So you might even form a certain attachment to somebody. Even though I became very careful with this because all of a sudden they were taken away and I was back in solitude again. So I started to learn to be very careful with my attachment, even to the point where it says, here, tell you what you do with that. But so we're still on the subject of attachment and detachment, and there's no hard rules, but I want to explain a few things about what I would attach to and what I detach from. So for example, this depends on your values. So I don't know if you got it from my last video, but basically what I was saying is I value my freedom, my time, and my soul more than money. Now, I was saying that money's a preferred indifferent, but I want to explain this because I had to make an argument in order to be able to be allowed to explain this. So basically, like my freedom, from my experience, not from a priori knowledge, from my experience, nobody is happy when they're trapped, when they're oppressed, or when they're trapped. Nobody. Nobody. I don't give a fuck. And it doesn't matter what's trapping you or what's oppressing you, but nobody's going to be happy when they're oppressed or trapped. And when you escape this oppression, or when you escape this entrapment, that's when you suddenly feel fucking free. And this freedom comes with such a sense of that you sort of like, that you're so happy to be free. Can you imagine being trapped and then being freed, Now it doesn't matter whether you're in jail, whether you're incarcerated, or whether you're entrapped by the bank, by loans and entrapment, where you have to go to work. You have to go to work. You're afraid of losing this shit. You're trapped by fear. You're afraid of losing the car. You're afraid of losing this house. You're afraid of losing this girlfriend. You're afraid of losing everything. Now you're trapped. You're trapped. And your nature does this. This is nature design. And basically, like, this is what's going to cause you to assess your values. How much do you value your freedom? How much do you value this? How much do you value that? But unless you question these things, you might even be trapped without knowing you're trapped. But I'll tell you one thing now for nothing. If your soul is trapped, you're going to be depressed. If your soul is trapped. But we'll come to this in a second. We'll come to about the soul being trapped and everything else. We'll come to this in a few minutes. So basically, like, I value my freedom. Right, so if you place freedom as I do, now I place freedom as my highest value. So I said, I refuted the fucking any opportunities for wealth or anything else. I said, no, I don't want them. I'm free, even though I did work. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't chase the money. I could have got a job. So, like, basically, like, I know, see someone giving out with someone on social welfare the other day, but I'll explain my point about social welfare. I used to own a gym, and the government kept coming in and taking from me 200 euro every week, 200 euro every week. Even though some weeks I hadn't got the 200 euro, they kept coming in and taking the 200 euro for services which I had not agreed to, or nor did I want, rates to call them. So eventually I got fucked off this, and I just said, tell you what, I just hung a close sign in the door, and I just said, now you give me 200 euro. You fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. You would not leave me alone. You would not let me get off the ground until such time as you put me out of business, and now you give me 200 euro a week. But this is short-term, a short-sighted thing on the government. Extortion, I used to call it. Rates was, as far as I was concerned, was pure extortion. They were already getting taxes, they were already getting everything else, but they couldn't stop with the rates. This is just extortion. This is mafia. This is extortion. But anyway, so I decided to turn the tables around, and I said, you give me 200 euro. And then when I had the 200 euro, I started a business called Bouncer Training in Ireland. Now, I did this for 3 years and would not let go, because I was always like a dog with a bone. I would not let go. I used to say, it'll be as I see it, And I would not let go until such time as my soul started talking to me. And that's when I started hearing the voices. And I said, Dave, because only for this, there was no fucking way I was letting go. I was absolutely refusing to let go. And they used to bring me in, and they used to say, are you looking for a job? And you say, I have a job. I said, there's my job there. I'm building my own business. I said, not only am I looking for a job, I'm creating a job. I said, I'm creating my own job. How many are doing that? And they used to leave me alone. They probably thought I was completely fucking insane. But I did nothing under a curtain. I used to walk in and leave down the papers and say, I'm working every fucking day, from morning to night. I said, but I was free because I wasn't taking a fucking job for money where I was going to feel trapped. I was doing what I felt was right for me to do, but I wasn't going to be enslaved by this desire for money, or enslaved by my desires. I was happy doing what I was, which was fighting tyranny, to be honest with you, because and corruption, because at the time the government was, the PSA was another government organisation which was completely corrupt, which was just, I explained this before, completely corrupt. And just exploiting people for their own selfish interests. But anyway, let's not go down that road, because I'm talking about freedom. So freedom then is then when I was finally free. The first thing my soul said to me was, what do you want to do with this freedom? What do you want to do with this freedom? And I said to myself, yeah, that's a good question, but we had to talk about this. And basically, the best thing you can do with your freedom is when you reach a certain level of freedom, the question is then, what are you going to do with this freedom? Because if you value something, what the value that you place on it will determine your use for it. And what better to do with your freedom than your duty to nature? Your duty to nature. Now, we'd have to talk about that again, exactly what my duty to nature is. So basically, that's the first thing. So the first thing I decided to do with my freedom is my duty to nature. That means you will not be derailed by your desires or aversions. Your duty to nature is your priority. Ask Kant, he'll tell you the same thing. Hegel will tell you the same thing. I'm not so sure about Nietzsche because he sort of fucked his up. He imposed his morality on nature, and he tore the arse of his, and it had to be an intervention. You won't know what I'm talking about, but anyway, that's the first thing, my freedom. The second thing then, my time. What do you do with your time? Well, if you value your time, you'll ask yourself how you use it, and you use it to do your duty to nature. You won't use your time. You might not think it, but I have to think all the time, and thinking is very, very fucking hard. Thinking is very, very fucking hard. I'm sitting up in that hostel all fucking week thinking, and that's not easy. Considering most of you don't think at all. And that's because, as Carl Jung said, thinking is hard, that's why people judge. But I think, and that's my role, is to think, because most of you don't think at all. So I have to do the thinking for you and write the philosophy. This is my role, this is my duty to nature. So that's how I spend my time. And because I value my time, I'm very, very conscious of how I spend my time. Now, the third thing is my soul. Now, if you read Oscar Wilde's The Fisherman, it's very easy to sell your soul. This is what Oscar Wilde's The Fisherman is all about. When with the Little Mermaid, he wanted Little Mermaid, and Little Mermaid said, well, you have to sell your soul, Now, you read Oscar Wilde's The Fisherman, you'll start to get an idea of what I'm talking about. But that's why I refuse to sell my soul, and how easy it would be for me to sell my soul. I'm not exempt from greed, lust, any of these things. I'm not exempt from this. It takes a conscious choice to listen to him all the time. Listen to him all the time. Listen to him. But this is a choice, and I have a choice in this. At any point, I could say here, fuck this life, fuck this. I'm getting a stupid job, because there'll be lots of people who will want to harness my energy for their own agenda, and there'll be lots of people who want to do that, and I just say, no, I've enough of this shit. I can go home anytime I fucking well want. I can go home back to Ireland anytime I fucking well want and draw the dole and do fuck all, or choose to die. I could do what I fucking well want. I have choices. But I choose to stay here and listen to my soul. So I listen to my soul. I listen to my soul when it comes to the bodybuilding. I don't listen to fucking Lane Norton and his a priori knowledge. I don't fucking listen to, which would then become my a priori knowledge. I listen to my soul, and this is where I get the fucking experience, and then I get the experience, and then it's not a priori knowledge, it's posteriori knowledge. It's knowledge from experience, which I happen to have a lot of. But there's a big fucking difference. Now, what you attach to and what you don't attach to. The other day when I came down and I found the 2 fucking waffles with the chocolate covered in chocolate, and I started to eat waffles, my soul said, Dave, you're hardly going to eat that shite. And I thought to myself, well, why am I eating this shite? And I said, no, I'm not sure I want to attach to this goal. I said, I'll go to the gym, I'll do the training, I'll eat whatever you fucking suggest to eat. But I said, I'm not so attached to this that I'm going to offer up free food. I'm still in survival mode, and I'm not making enough money that I get to turn my nose up to fucking food when I find it, or anything else, because I am still in survival mode. And that's why I was going to eat the waffles. And then he said, no, you have to choose. So I said, right, I'll choose. And I did choose. 2 days later, I've no gym and no food. And he said to me, so I said, here, I found some bread, and he ate the bread. I found some sugar, and I found a bag of oats, and I started to make flapjacks. Where I found some butter in a bin, and I started to make some flapjacks. And he says, sugar and butter, this is here, basically. Jog on. You know what I mean? And he said, you're not just going to stick to the oil, you're not going to fast. I said, no. Basically, I'm not. I'm not going to attach to that. I already I said, I'll take it up whenever the opportunity presents itself. But basically, no, I'm not going to I'm just going to survive for now. And this is not so important right now. Basically, I'm not going to attach to this so hard that I'm going to frustrate myself trying to fight for it. I said, in current circumstances, no. But then, when the crazy lad was in the hostel, I may go. I did attach to the hostel because when he made me angry, I got angry. And that's because attachment to the hostel. But I do attach to that, the boy.